So, Gail, your career has been, I mean, you've been, like literally, I grew up watching you on Top of the Pops. But when you first started, you actually started behind the camera. Is that true?
Yeah, gosh, it was such a weird journey because um, I'd studied film and photography, and then I went to work at a place called In Video, which was in Edinburgh, and basically they hired me as a runner, which, if anyone out there doesn't know what a runner is, it basically means you do everything. You do whatever they want you to do. So one minute I'm on reception, the next minute I'm assistant camera girl, and the next minute I'm working in sound. The next day I'm picking up the boss's laundry, literally anything. And it'd be late nights, and I was working for free because those were the days when you did work experience and you actually didn't get paid. And I was there
Oh,
for.
it's the same now.
Yeah,
Is
nothing's
it still the
changed.
same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I went on to work for another TV company, and I was babysitting a lot as well because obviously I was not making any money whatsoever. And one of the guys I was babysitting for was a director, and he said, "You know what? My kid absolutely loves you. You make him laugh. We've got this audition to let you know there's thousands." And he said that, I might not be there, I might be there, but obviously you'll be treated the same as everybody else. And when I went in, I didn't have a script or anything because it was too late. And then I just thought, oh, do you know what? I'll just wing it. I'm never going to get it. Got in there, winged it, went back to my pub job at night time, then went back to the TV job. And then I was getting phone call after phone call going, you're down to the last 100, you're down to the last 50, da, da, da. And then suddenly, like, you've got a job, you're going to be on live TV on on ITV, called the Interactive Game Show. So we were playing interactive games with kids on the phone live. How could that possibly go wrong? They went wrong every week. And then after that, it was kind of like, what do I do now? Do I go back to working behind the scenes? Because I love it. But then I was getting offered jobs in front of the telly, and I loved that too. So I thought, well, do you know what? I'll take it while it's there, and at least I've got the knowledge if I need it. If I want to go back behind the screens, it's not like I've just.
I suppose being a runner like gave you such a wide view of everything that was going on, so you had an understanding of all of the different elements that goes into the production.
Do you know what? I still speak to the cameraman that I was assistant to. I still speak to the editor that I work with, and they knew I knew nothing, and I would just be happy until I got caught by the boss. And they're like, "What are you doing sitting in here?" And I was just learning every day, and I learned more there. I'm not saying to kids, if you want to go to college, university, go for it. But when it comes to media, and if you get an opportunity to actually get into a studio or get into a film, anything, music, you learn so much more. I learned so much within about the first 6 months of stuff that, you didn't get the opportunity. There wasn't the technology at the colleges, and yeah, loved every minute of it and keep in touch with every single one of them.
I think from what I've kind of heard from speaking to people who are studying kind of photography, film, media, those kind of things, I feel like quite a lot of those educational systems are a bit behind what is currently happening. So they get advice of things that would have
Yeah.
been good 10 years ago, but then actually when they get out into the world, that's not really there for them.
No, I do feel a bit like that. I mean, I was lucky enough to get in, but even when I was at college, I was a bit like, seriously? And then I was doing like odd jobs for people and learning so much in a weekend, and then going back to college. And if our lecturer wasn't having a spliff somewhere, we couldn't find him. It was just like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Mind you, I'm very old now. I kind of went lost in the 90s. I don't really know what happened. But yeah, I was lucky enough to get a job. And yeah, as I say, didn't pay. And I was just happy as Larry. I was driving trucks. I was doing whatever. I was delivering equipment. And yeah, and also it gives you so much more respect for people that you work with.
Mm.
I think sometimes when you see, no offense to, I don't watch these programs, the love programs or whatever, and then suddenly they're famous and they're doing whatever they do. I'm not entirely sure, but I just feel there's a lot of people, like a lot of actresses that have worked behind the scenes, understand the whole script writing, everything that goes together, instead of just being pretty. And I think you have to have sex on telly now, don't you, to be
Something
famous?
like that.
Definitely helps.
I'm not entirely sure.
What was it about film and photography that was interesting to you?
Well, basically, I wanted to be Princess Leia, and obviously that had been taken. So then I decided I wanted to work on Star Wars, but I didn't think I was good enough. I thought the only part I could possibly play would be R2D2 or an
We got
Ewok,
the hype for that.
because I'm five
Yeah.
foot one. Exactly. So I was thinking, I'm going to try and find out a bit more about film. And I always liked animation, but I can't draw, I can't sing. I've got no talent whatsoever in anything. So I just thought I want to just find out a bit more about editing, filming, assisting, anything. I just love the whole idea of making something magical, even if it was like some shitty documentary that I might have done in, like, one of my first ones was, I think, for something called Pebble Mill, and
Oh
I was
yeah,
filming in a sea life cent, and I was. Do you remember
yeah,
that? And it was on about. It was almost like This Morning, but for really old people
yeah.
like us. And then it was my first ever filming job, and I got to produce it. And it was only about 3 minutes, but it was in the Sea Life Centre in Fife. I will never forget that day. I was so thankful for the people that were looking after their fish. I was so thankful. Basically, nobody I was working with wanted to do it. They went, Gail will do it. And honestly, I will never forget that till the day I die. And they showed it for 3 minutes on Pebble Mill, and it was shit, but I did it.
Did you always have that attitude of like the jobs that other people would be like, "Oh no, I'm not going to do it." Like I'll do it.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Even if it was really rubbish, I just think, yeah, do you know what? It's going to be an experience. Doesn't matter if it's bad. I mean, unless it was something really awful, like a really mean program, I would never do anything mean. I mean, I think the worst one that I said yes to was Big Brother, but bless God, Big Brother. It was. I mean, I was homeless and I had no money, and they offered me a fee, and I thought either I stay sleeping on the streets or I take the offer and be humiliated and hopefully come out the other side. And yeah, so that was a tricky one to do, to be honest with you.
I mean, I haven't watched Big Brother and since the first episode, which would have been like early 90s, I guess, or late 90s.
I've never, I think I watched the first one and that was
Yeah, the
about
same as
it.
me.
I
See,
did.
But from what I've heard, like when you were on the show, like you were just yourself, and so I don't think you have anything to like. It's great that it got you out of a bad situation.
Yeah.
So
But it was a weird one. It was America versus the UK, and so yeah, I went in. My plan was I'll get voted out in week one because I'm going to be so boring. And all I did was everyone started shouting all the time. I mean, it was just noise, and I don't like that. I live in a flat on my own with a
yeah,
cat, and people screaming 24/7. I know people just watch it for 1 hour. You're in a house, and it's tiny, and they are screaming, I want eggs. No, you want it. And you're just like, oh my God, I'm actually losing my mind. And you're not allowed to read. You're not allowed a pen. You're not allowed anything whatsoever. So it's just silence or them shouting. And I remember going into the Big Brother diary room, and I was like, hi there. And they went, are you okay? And I went, not really, no. And they were like, what do you want? I went, could I get a book? And they went, you can't read in here. I was like, a pen, anything, Scrabble, Monopoly. They were like, no, you're not allowed anything. That was it, nothing. And everyone, all I did was clean, 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 because they just didn't clean up after themselves. And the other thing I did when they were all shouting, I'd go, excuse me, would anybody like a cup of tea? And then there was a guy called Fat Man Scoop. Don't know if you know Fat Man Scoop.
Yeah.
Put your
Yeah.
hands up. Put your hands up.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's like, man, if Gail Porter's putting on a kettle, some shit is going down. And I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Someone needs to put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Do you want a cup of tea? Some shit is going down. And it's like every...
It's so interesting. I mean, we've spoken on this podcast before about how like creativity is so good for mental health.
Yeah.
And it seems to me like by taking away, you can't have a pen, you can't read, like they're intentionally taking away any outlet that you have to be creative
Oh, yeah.
in order to create this boiling pot of, and just see what's going to happen, see who's going to explode first.
Yeah, I honestly, genuinely, hand on heart, thought I'd be out in week 1, and I think I was there till the last week. And I kept saying, please, I'm begging you, get me out of here. And the day I got said my name, I was just like, oh my God. And then the lovely girl who was interviewing, the very pretty one, who does the voice, Emma,
Oh yeah.
what's her last name?
What's her... Willis? Emma Willis.
Emma Willis, very beautiful, very lovely. I came out, I was just ecstatic. I wanted to go home. And she was like, so how was it? And I said, I'm not being funny. I've been sectioned. And actually being sectioned was easier than being in the Big Brother house. And that's not even a joke. She was like, oh, right. Oh, okay. I was like, yeah, section me again. Oh, yeah, no, never again.
What positives did you take from that
None.
scenario?
None.
No, do you know what? I actually, I learned that I was more patient than I thought. And I do cry a lot, but I always knew that. But the thing is, I don't know what people saw because obviously you see an hour, and we're 24 hours a day, and I must have cried maybe 5 times just for the noise and the screaming. And then my daughter said, "Mum, it was like you cried all the time," and I was like, "It possibly 5 times just because of the screaming." We had security coming in to get people off each other because they were fighting so much. And you're just saying, this is not normal. So, I mean, what I did, yeah, no, I got fuck all. No, fuck all whatsoever.
You got a paycheck and it got you back on your feet. So there's a silver lining.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It got me a little flat, and then I didn't leave my flat for a long time because I was so happy to have a roof over my head again. And then I just didn't want to go out. You were sort of offered these turn up at nightclubs, do this, and I was like, that's everything I couldn't think of. No.
Yeah.
I was just like, right, have I got enough money for Netflix? Check. Do I still have my DVDs? Check. Okay. Am I leaving the house? Absolutely no way. So that was my life when I came out.
So when you were early on in your career, you mentioned like doing the kids' TV show and it consistently going wrong. I'm guessing because most of your, like a lot of your career was like live situations.
Yeah.
Were you kind of able to, I guess it gave you training to be able to deal with as soon as something goes wrong, you can cope with it and run with things on the fly?
Well, do you know what? I think a lot of people think because you're on telly, it must be a lot harder. But if you think everyday life, things go wrong, or you might say something wrong to someone that you meet in a coffee shop, like, oh my God, you're pregnant. No, I'm fat. Oh shit, right. So anyway, and then you get round the situation. And when you're on live TV, you think, okay, people are watching. And then I would just go, okay, fine, next, let's do something. And it just gave you, it was just like thinking on your feet, isn't it?
It almost sounds like going back to your first audition, the fact that you didn't prepare for it and you did wing it, it's almost like the reason you got that was because you have that ability to just be able to just make the best of whatever's happening.
Yeah, I think the director did say that. He said the fact you turned up, everybody, because it was like, what, now let me think, 1992, 3, I don't know what year it was. But anyway, everyone's turning up in neon clothes. like they've all just walked out of Steps audition. And then
Yeah.
I just rocked up in a Stussy jacket, pair of baggy jeans, Nike trainers, and then I looked at everyone and I was like, oh my God, this is like some sort of insane. This is like a Skittles advert on acid, and I turned up looking like shit. And I just walked in. I said, "Look, I don't have the right clothes on. I've worked behind the scenes. I don't have a script. Give me a rough idea of what I'm doing, and then I'll just crack on." And that's what I did, and I got the job.
How important do you think it is to be yourself?
Oh God, 100%. I don't give a shit what anyone thinks about me at all. I don't think anyone should, because you know what? We've only got one life, and you know what? As you know, I've just lost my dad. I don't have my mum. I don't have my grandparents. You just think, if I worried about everything, yeah, nah, I don't have time to worry. I did used to worry quite a lot, thinking, "Oh my God!" And when my hair fell out, I was thinking, "Are you having a laugh? Seriously?" And then I thought, "Okay, fine." It took me about a week to go, "Okay, this is it. This is it." And people were like phoning me up, doctors. "Oh, we can do this, we can do that. Oh, this will cost this amount, that will cost." And I said, "Do you know what? This is me." And fortunately, I quite like it. It's fine. I'm in that shower, 5 seconds, bish bash bosh, out. I've got mates with loads of hair, and I was like, "I'll see you in 5 minutes." They went, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I win. I always win." Quick shine on the head, don't wear any makeup, don't care what anyone thinks. Been through it all. Had the papers when I was younger. They liked you, they hate you, they liked you, you hate you. And there were times, obviously, it hurt. And then you get, as soon as I had my daughter, I was like, you know what? It's the only thing I care about. And my friends, and obviously that cat, it just looks like she's dead all the time.
Yeah, I
Doesn't
think
even move.
it's like that time in the 90s. I don't know if you've seen, have you seen the Jade Goody documentary?
No, I haven't. I didn't want to watch that, to be honest.
It was a hard watch. It's really really sad. Probably not the sort of person that I was a fan of when she was alive. Watching it after she died, like what a beautiful, lovely person. It was actually like really, really lovely, and it was really nice. It's a brilliant body of work, but it's very, very sad. But it gives you this kind of view into this time, like just before social media, where the world was so fucking weird. And like, as of like when I was researching you, like watching, like going back and watching some old clips of like Top of the Pops and stuff, it was such a strange time of like, it's almost like our awakening. And it doesn't seem that long ago, the 90s, but when you look back on it, we are so far from that then, that like now. And I know you still have things like people going on Love Island and committing suicide afterwards because they can't handle the pressure. And so I suppose a lot of the evils that were then are still the same, and the press is still doing anything to get a story out of everyone.
Yeah.
But that time in the 90s, like it wasn't like you had any training. Like, did anyone ever sit you down and go, this is how you deal with people being negative to you in the press?
No, basically you get a phone call and they go, "What are you doing in about an hour?" And you go, "Why?" And they went, "Right, so basically, could you get to Top of the Pops in an hour?" I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah." And then you'd be there, and then you'd come out, and then but there was I think when I went, for anyone that doesn't know what happened, I got sectioned, and it was after the 90s, and it was kind of when I went homeless a bit. But in the 90s was just the best time ever. It was just one long party, but we all managed to get to work. How we did it, I have got no clue whatsoever. I remember I'd be like living with my ex who lived in Essex, and I'd be getting up at 2 o'clock, and he's like, "Where are you going now?" And I went, "I'm doing the big breakfast." He went, "You just got back from Top of the Pops." I went, "I know, hardcore, man." And he was like, "I don't even." He was like, "I don't even know what's happening." I was like, "You just keep going." But it's also you're young and excitable, and you just think, you know. I think everyone thought we were out partying 24/7, but I think I explained to quite a few people I've spoken to. I say, if you get up at 2 o'clock to do the big breakfast, which I think we started rehearsals at 5, makeup at 6, live at 7, finished at 9. We were going for lunch at 10 a.m. because we'd been up since 2.
Yeah.
Then you'd have a bit of a break, and then you'd be at Top of the Pops by 5 o'clock to go live at 7, to finish by 11, to get to bed, to get up, to get to work again for 5. No, the only thing was that was a time when paparazzis were following you. So people, that was the whole phone bugging thing. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which
So you
we
had your
didn't.
phone bugged, right?
Well, we still don't know. It's still nobody seems to know because people just seem to know where you were at what time, what shop you were at. It was just very odd, and it's a very sort of confusing time because you're looking at your mates going, "Was it you? Was it you?" So yeah, it was all very odd, but I think it's still an ongoing thing. But it was one of those times when you just like, I mean, I had the time of my life. I was exhausted. And I loved the fact everyone thought I was partying. And I was like, I wish I was. I did go to a few, obviously. Yeah. If you had a weekend off, of course, you would go out and have the greatest time. But during the week, could you imagine getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and then getting to bed at 11 o'clock at night and then back up again at 2 o'clock in the morning? You can't go. Where are you going to party?
It seemed like Big Brother was basically just a big party anyway, so at least you could just use that as not Big Brother, Big Breakfast. Sorry, at least
Big
you could just
breakfast,
use
yeah.
Big Breakfast as your party time.
Well, the thing is with Big Breakfast, you turn up, you get the script. Johnny didn't exactly rip it up, but you knew what was ever given to Johnny, it wasn't going to happen. So you're all kind of like, so you had a rough idea of the guests and where they'd be, but then other than that, it was just total chaos.
I wish
And
there
I
was
just
something like that now. It's like
do
it
you
was
know,
so
I was
fun.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that to you. It's like, you put on, it's the same. BBC One is, informative. BBC Two, whatever. ITV can't watch it. Channel 4, and then you got Channel 5, can't pay, will take it away. And I was like, my God, I've been bankrupt, and I've had these people outside my house going, "Is that your car?" I went, "I don't even own a bike." And they're like, "What, a motorbike?" I went, "No, a cycle bike. I don't have anything. I've got nothing." So yeah, it's just shit telly at the moment.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
mad.
God, not all of it. Not all of it. There's some great documentaries and there's some great drama series, but they're few and far between. And when they come on, when they finish, you're just like, why have you finished? Do you know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
at least Top of the Pops every week, you knew you were going to see a band, hopefully singing live, if not miming terribly, but everyone was having fun. And I actually had a box because I was shorter than the children that were in the audience. So it said Gail's box, and I'd stand on the box.
At least you get a
And
good
just
view
so
of the
it's
bands.
bigger. Yeah, exactly. I was like, hello there, and then they take a box, and I was like, oh, I missed that.
Do you
Yeah,
take a box to gigs now?
I'm so small, I can actually weasel my
Oh,
way
you're
to
one
the
of
front.
those. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm one of those. Sorry, I apologise. But do you know what? Taller people should
Oh,
just let me
I'm
stand at the
6 foot
front.
3, so I'm fine. Like, I get a space empty up behind me because people
Well,
can't
then
see.
I'll just go on your shoulders and then piss everyone off behind us.
So when you were doing Top of the Pops, did you get to meet a lot of your sort of heroes and see them perform?
Yeah, I hid from a few because they were a bit. I think I've said to everyone, Blur couldn't meet him. Damon could not. I had a massive crush. And then once he did the gorillas and all the artwork and everything else, I was just like, oh, yeah. I think I met him once when he was a little bit, he did a few drinks and I'd had a few drinks. And I said, I used to hide from you at Top of the Pops. He went, oh no. I was like, oh God.
Oh, no.
I don't know what was worse was the fact that I'd actually said it, but he actually knew. And I was like, oh, this is really bad. And who else? I mean, do you know what? Everyone was lovely. The Manics were great. There was lots of people who would sort of like turn up, disappear. So like Prince was there. I was very excited, but he had a massive entourage, so you didn't really see him. He came from sort of a van through a big thing. No one got to see him. He went on stage. He didn't even do it in front of the live audience. He'd do it pre-recorded, straight back in the tunnel thing, straight back in and win. I was gutted. I was like, I think Mariah Carey did the same thing, but I think she wanted puppies somewhere.
That's an interesting
Okay.
rider.
Yeah, well, she's always going to have an interesting line. She wasn't even in the building, really. I think she wanted puppies, candles, and a few kittens. But yeah, it never happened.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You mentioned there's some good documentaries on, and you are very correct. And a recent documentary that was very good was called Being Gail Porter, and it was.
Oh my God, I think I'm in it.
I think you might be.
Yeah, maybe.
And
Maybe.
that was it. So we both mentioned off mic that we both listened to your podcast that you did with Louis, and you mentioned on there that documentary was great, but they didn't focus as much on like the happy things. There was a very like sad focus on it.
Do you know what? I think they did a brilliant job because obviously they had the brief of how it was supposed to turn out, and it was about depression and about helping people with depression. So they only had an hour, so they did exactly what they were supposed to do. And I mean, I've not watched all of it because I find no, 'cause my dad's in it, and my dad passed away after it. So yeah, bit tricky to watch, and yeah, but I mean, from what I saw, they did an absolutely fantastic job. But yeah, it's very difficult to do a documentary on depression and then just bring a bit of happiness into it. But what I was told to do, well, not what I was told to do. What we discussed was it was like talking about diagnosis and people getting told what you actually have, what you don't have. You should take this drug. You should take this drug. Whereas my view is just like, do you know what? You do what is best for you. I got 5 diagnoses by 5 doctors, and I only saw each of them for 15 minutes. I didn't even know these people. And they were like, oh, take this, take this, take that. And I was like, do you know what? I go for a nice run or a nice walk, and it works for me. I'm not saying it works for everybody. Some people need to take medication. But it was just so weird that I didn't know these people.
Did anyone try and prescribe fitness?
No.
It's interesting,
They
isn't
said,
it? That the
they
first thing they
said,
go for is the meds.
yeah, straight for the meds. And they said, oh, if the fitness makes you happy. And I said, it makes me happy. My little house makes me happy. My cat makes me happy. I can get through, if I have a bad day, like I say, up, showered, out. Doesn't matter if it's raining, get out of the house. Because I know if I stay in, I know what I've been like before. It'll be under the covers, and then I won't even watch something fun. I'll watch The Shining.
Yeah. Do you think recording the doc and going through those situations and like meeting old friends and basically having this kind of look back on your life, do you think it helped?
Do you know what? Yes, I did. Especially with my old friends, because they were very honest, and I didn't realize how much I hurt them by staying quiet. And they thought I was the toughest little thing going. I was up, out, working non-stop, didn't tell them anything. And then once we all sat together at different times, they were like, we knew you were self-harming, we knew you were starving yourself, and we didn't want to tell you because you were so busy and you had so much on your plate. But so yeah, I'm still getting emotional now because I felt so bad for them, thinking I should have just been honest. So if anyone's watching this has got anything, tell anybody because they'll always be there for you.
Is it because you don't want to burden them? Was that why you wouldn't tell them?
Yeah, I thought everyone's got enough to deal with. They don't need my stuff. But you know what? If my friends didn't tell me, I'd be furious. I even say that to I even say that to the cat. She's just like, just change the litter tray. All right, I've done it. But no, to my friends, I just say honestly, tell me anything, because there's nothing a conversation can't help or point you in the right direction or give you a hug. Well, no, we can't give you each other's hug now, but we can do virtual hugs. When are we allowed to hug again? This is really bad. I don't like it at all.
And obviously, you mentioned earlier the point where you became homeless. That was obviously when everything just completely went to shit. And
Thanks.
I, someone's, well, I mean,
I'm going to get that made into
I mean,
a t-shirt.
I mean, it wasn't a great time, Gail, was it? Let's
No,
be
it wasn't.
honest.
It wasn't good.
And a friend said to me a few years ago, and it's something that's always stuck with me, and because he's been homeless, and he said that we are all a couple of either bad decisions or situations out of our control. We're all like one or two situations away from becoming homeless, and it's so much closer to everyone than they think it is. And the I think why the documentary is so great is because it just puts out there this kind of redemption story, because you have to have that for the hero's journey. You kind of have to have that rock bottom to have the triumphant ending.
Yeah, well, like you say, your friend's completely right. You don't know what's going to happen from one second to the next. I mean, we've been in lockdown since March. How many friends have I and you have got, and everyone that's listening, have got friends that have lost jobs. They can't work. I can't furlough because I'm a freelancer. So I am just sort of like hoping. I've had every job cancelled. Um, yeah, I just sort of wake up, think, okay, keep positive. I've been homeless once before. I can do it again. But like you say, it can just be one turn. It can be you get made redundant for no reason, or something, just anything. It can be anything that can just suddenly turn your life around. So you just have to just be grateful for every moment. And do you know, when I was homeless, I was too embarrassed to ask for help. And I think there's part of me that wishes I did, but also there was I think 20% of me wanted to say, I'm screwed. And then 80% of me was like, I'm Gail Porter. I'm tough as fuck. I'm Scottish, man. Sorry for swearing again. But I was like, I turned into a mini ninja, and I thought, right, I lost everything because I put everything into storage, couldn't afford to get it back out. I had a black bin liner, which I'd have to hide, and it just had basic clothes. And then luckily I had friends that would let me in, and but I didn't tell them how bad it was. And it was towards Christmas time as well, so they're all going off to visit families, Italy, France, wherever. And I was like, blimey, I've got nowhere to go.
Do you think you're a
So,
stronger person because of going through that?
yeah, I'm a proper fully fledged ninja. No, no, but I am. I do. I think it, yeah, it definitely made me a better person, well, a harder person, but it also made me think about other people. Well, I've always thought about other people. I've always wanted to help people, homeless people, but it's now made me really, really look at more things should be done. There should not be people sleeping on the street. It's absolutely ridiculous in this day and age. And I do as much as I possibly can with any charity I can do, and I don't know. I mean, there's only so much you can do before. I don't know. I just try my best.
And what do you think like the average person listening to this could do to be a little bit better?
Just, I think the best thing is to be aware, especially of neighbours, because you don't even understand that maybe your neighbours are suffering really badly with the bills at the moment. They might be hiding from bailiffs. They might be facing homelessness. I mean, you can obviously, I know the people that are homeless right here, and I always make sure I take up spare blankets, buy some bits and pieces, or bits of food and stuff. But you've got to actually look into people that were probably like me, just completely going, no, everything's fine. So when you ask your friend, are you okay? And they go, yeah, yeah, yeah. Just maybe ask it twice, just because maybe the second time they might go, actually, we're a tiny bit screwed.
Are you getting better at doing that yourself?
Um, no.
Gail, come on. Because I know you want, like, I know you give that advice to people, but like, we want you to take that advice too.
Okay, so when I get to see you next, can I ask you something? Can I get a cuddle of both of you when we're allowed? There, there we go. That's all I need. That's all I need at the moment. I'm fine. I've got myself sorted, so I don't need to ask for help at the moment. Emotionally sometimes, but yeah, I think I've sorted it.
Because I think when I look through your Twitter feed, like you're followed by thousands of people who just think you're great and you're
Don't make me
funny and
cry.
bubbly, and I know and I know how self-deprecating you are. And also, I also notice as well in interviews and stuff, like people say to you, "Oh, Gail, don't cry. We love you. You're amazing. Like you're fucking amazing." And I know when I've noticed because like I've followed your career for a long time, and like we've hung out a few times. Like when someone says to you like you're gorgeous and you're amazing, your instant reaction is always to go, no, I'm not, no, I'm not, no, I'm not. And you always kind of put it down and dismiss it. But it's fucking true. And like all of these people follow you because they think you're amazing. So like just remember that, mate. All right? You're fucking
Shut
brilliant.
up! You're
Yeah,
making me
just
cry.
believe some
But
people.
it's a good cry. I think when I lost my hair, it just I look different, but I'm still me.
Exactly. And as when Honey saw you, she went rock and roll. You're fucking rock and
Yeah,
roll. You're fucking Gail Porter.
I am rock and roll, man. Or I actually have to do it with my other that with that. Have I done it right that way? I don't know. I don't want to do it
I'm
wrong.
doing a lot of swearing. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll do it that way. I know,
Okay.
but then I can't use my ring, which I get from the Great Frog in London.
Oh, that's really close to where
I
our
should get.
studio is.
Is it? Oh well,
Oh
pop
yeah,
in.
I know those guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all very handsome, all taken. Do you know what? I'd like to go home to Edinburgh for a wee while just because I miss Arthur's Seat, I miss my friends, I miss the fact that I don't have to, as much as I do love London and it's really interesting, but some days I don't want to get on the tube, I don't want to be doing that sort of stuff. I just want to be able to walk somewhere. If not that, I mean, I've always loved New York, but obviously that's not safe to go there now. But I kind of like it just because it's one of those places that it's a wee bit too expensive though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this all ending and people just looking after each other because I'm getting a wee bit angry that when you go to the shops and people aren't wearing masks and they don't seem to be caring. And even when I
Yeah.
saw, what do they call it, Super Saturday, and I was just looking out, just thinking, why are you
Oh my
doing
god,
this?
yeah.
I've spent what since March. I think I brought my dad home on March the 20th. I've been at home making sure I follow the rules, don't do anything wrong. The most exciting thing I do is go to the co-op, and then suddenly you see all these people out after all this time of trying to be careful, and they've got no masks. And do you know what? Don't get me wrong, have fun, everyone, but just be careful, and don't just think about yourself. Think about other people. There's
Yes, that's it, isn't it? It's the selfishness of
because there's a
everything.
lot of people out there that have got elderly parents and they might go out for a drink and think, oh, it's fine, but you don't know who you're bumping into, and then you might go, oh my god, I've just turned into my grandmother.
I'm the absolute same. I just want to scream at everyone who's not wearing
It's
masks.
so simple.
It just seems certain countries are onto it, and you don't real like it just like it was supposed to be. They did the vote of as whether it would be compulsory to wear a mask in shops in the UK, and they voted no.
It
What? Like
doesn't, you know
why?
what?
It's clearly proven that outside you're less likely to get it, inside you're much more likely to get it, but if you wear a
And
mask it
and
dramatically
also
reduces the chances,
if you're
but it's
wearing a
not compulsory.
mask, I keep seeing people that wear it just over their mouth. It's your nose and your mouth.
Oh,
Seriously, guys and girls, it's your nose and your mouth. You put it there. Just don't even bother.
there's a there's a brilliant meme that was going around about that where they basically got like a cartoon picture of someone with his like penis just hanging out the top of his trousers, and they basically say you wouldn't wear your trousers like this, so wear a mask over your nose.
Yeah.
But
Brilliant.
it's true. It's just like, do you know what? Just it's not that difficult. It's really not. And I have got 10 Star Wars masks.
Well, are they like Vader
I've got a
ones?
full from Stormtrooper from the nose down, and it goes way down to my neck. Then I've got one that just says Star Wars. Then I've got another one that says May the Force be with you. Then I've got a Darth Vader one. Then I've got a Star. Oh my god! Oh my god! My cat's just going. No wonder you're effing single. So anyway, that's my mask collection.
Well, I think that's cool as fuck. So one thing that you said on the doc, bringing it back to that, even though you haven't seen it, so you probably
Well,
don't remember
I did
exactly
see
what you
bits
said.
when I had to
But
do
what-
the voice, but do you know what? Bless the director was like, we can just like scroll through bits that you can't cope with, but you know,
Right.
obviously I
That's
did the
lovely.
voice.
You are like basically you're on a mission to make people feel less sad, and I love that. And how can we all like what would your advice be for everyone to help other people feel less sad?
Do you know what? For me personally, over this lockdown, a wave to my neighbour out the window or a little note on the doorstep saying, right, that's my number. Do you want anything? Or if I get delivered something to do a little PR thing, or I've got extra candles in the house, or I've got extra chocolates, I just leave them at the doorsteps with a wee note. Or then I'll just leave a note. If I don't have anything to give them, I'll leave a note just saying, I'm thinking about you. Do you know what?
Yeah.
It's as simple
Yeah.
as that. You don't have to go to Harrods and buy a blinking basket. But do you know what? A
Yeah.
tiny note going, there's my phone number. You want a chat? So do you know what? That's social distancing. All we have to do is have a chat on the phone. How are you doing? Are
Yeah.
you okay?
100%. It's the little things, isn't it? I think too often we forget how much meaning that little stuff can have to someone's day.
Yeah, I think like the acknowledgement is key, isn't it? It's like just to feel acknowledged. That's what most people want. That's just kind of like I'm here
see
for
you.
you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? The other day, lady walking down, she was waving at me. She went, "Oh my God, it's so amazing to see you." Hadn't seen her for about a month. That sent me off into tears. I was like, she didn't have to say that. And I was like, it's not amazing to see me. But she's like, "Oh my God, amazing, miss you." And I was like, that's all it takes. Do you know what?
Yeah.
Words are the best things in the world to make people happy. I think so, anyway.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
100%. You have said that you don't like to be labelled, and I think it's a really good thing. I think that you're prepared to like you said. I just want to be Gail, and I think that maybe we should what's the decision process behind that? And do you think more people should maybe not be defined by these labels and just try and become themselves a bit more?
I think when I was younger and I was struggling, and mum and dad were amazing but very Scottish, so it was kind of, you know, you get up, unless you've broken both your legs, you're going to school. You know,
Yeah.
kind of stern that way. And then I went to the doctors when I was just, you know, I just wasn't feeling right. And then again, it was like 15, 20 minutes, Prozac, citalopram. I was only about 18 years old. And then after that, I went back a few times, and again, and then they said, well, we think you might have bipolar. We think you might be depressed. We think you might have lost your hair. Of course I fucking lost my hair. I'm bald as fuck, man. So, excuse my language again. But I was just like, do you know what? It was always like, they'd say things, just like, and looking at their watches. And I was like, don't look at your watch. If you can't be bothered, then... But do you know what? I totally understand that people like to know, you know, if there is something wrong with them mentally. But I feel like I've done my running, jogging, I've done every single drug that I could possibly be given, and I've gone from bad to worse. And what works for me is talking and walking and running and eating the right foods, calling my friends when I need them, But I do know that people out there need medication, so I would never say don't go to the doctors. But unfortunately, I just had a really, really bad time with them because at first I think because I was young and then I wasn't eating, they said, well, just eat more. And anorexia is a disease. It's like overeating,
Yeah, yeah.
undereating, and it's like I can't though. I said I physically can't. When I go home, I'll eat, if I do eat, I'll be sick, and I don't know why. I don't know why I'm doing it. And they were like, "All right, well, take Prozac, take this, take that," and then I just gave up. And I thought, I think I'm just gonna have to fight this battle myself.
It's so lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it's been great.
Thank you.
What would be your parting words of advice to anyone listening? What's the what would you go back and say to your younger self?
Oh gosh. I'd say just be the same person as you are now because you know you would not be in the same place. You might go through a bit up and downs, but you know what? You'd be a better person, and then you can help more people. So I'm never a believer in regrets or looking back or saying, "Oh, what have I done this? What have I done that?" I've had a great life. I've had a bad life. I've had a great life. It's gone back down. Yeah, I think my parting comment would be: everyone, look after yourself. Phone someone, anyone. Talk to your neighbours. Just make sure everyone's fine and make sure you're fine. And then also, can we have one massive big hug in as soon as we're allowed?
Yeah, amazing. Look,
That'd be great.
sorry we made you cry, Gail, but
No, you
we
didn't.
think you're
Honestly, I
brilliant.
cry. I cry all the time anyway. But it's a good
You're
cry. It wasn't. It wasn't a sad cry. It was a happy cry.
amazing.
That's
Well,
good.
glad we made you cry then, and you're a national treasure. And
That's another T-shirt. Oh my God! You're just like setting me up a T-shirt.
can you let everyone know where they can connect with you online?
Oh gosh, what like my Twitter and everything?
Yes.
Oh, Twitter is just. I think Twitter is just at Gail
Twitter is
Porter.
at Gail Porter. Yeah.
Instagram is I am Gail Porter.
Yep.
Facebook, absolutely no idea, but I know that I'm wearing a tiny black dress and I've got black glasses on, and I took a picture of myself in the picture in the mirror in the Groucho Club because I think there's about 20 Gail Porters, so I don't know which one's mine. So I
Right.
tend not
Okay.
to do that.
We'll
So
keep it to Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter,
Twitter and
Twitter
Instagram.
is Gail Porter. Instagram, I am Gail Porter.
Brilliant.
And new podcast coming soon, hopefully.
Yes.